Welcome back to the new year. Wanted to kick things off by repeating one thing we touched on last year. For those of you that may have been on vacation at the end of the year, make sure you stop at csadvent.christmas. If you are a C Sharp developer, there are tons of blog posts that were put up on the web during the month of December for the C Sharp Advent calendar. Hats off to Matt Groves for organizing this. There's like 50 articles posted, and there's some really amazing stuff in here. Things like functional programming with dictionaries and C Sharp. Um, there's some stories around using AI for travel applications, all sorts of cool stuff in here. Building local AI powered models, all .NET, all C Sharp related.
I like
Check
it.
this out if you did not already. This is something I saw tweeted out the other day. This one is a new one, new for me. I don't know how long this has been around, but this is called Refit. And the idea here is you write a lot of like HTTP client stuff for your applications in .NET. And this is kind of a library that fits an interface with the web API that you're targeting. So you don't have to write the HTTP client portion of it. So you have your web API, you point this interface at it, and then the application can generate the HTTP client code for you and save you a lot of time writing things. So this is a nice little utility that you can use in your .NET apps to simplify your API calls, and does all the serialization and stuff for you. Takes some of the busy work out of your day.
I
That
like it.
one's
That's a
called
good find. I haven't
Re.
heard of that either. So, yeah, it sounds similar like Retrofit, which is a popular library in JavaScript, which is probably why the name Refit is used. But that's what I remember from that library. So
And it's an open source project. You can view the source code up on GitHub. And yeah, it's pretty interesting, and it's a nice way to cut down on some of that boilerplate code that you might be writing.
yeah,
So
just reading a
that's a
little bit
good
of the
one to
history
check out.
here. It's been a while. It's been around for a while. I'm surprised I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it either. So I've been following. I'm not going to try to pronounce Milan's last name here, but been following him for a while, and he's got some really good information on his social media accounts, and it came up on his social media feed. So make sure you check out some of his content as well. He's got a newsletter and some training materials and stuff out there. So
Nice.
check out what he's up to. It is it is CES week, John. I don't know if you know that,
The
but
most wonderful time of the year, as they say.
is it? I think that was last month, but we
It's
won't.
it's definitely the weirdest time for tech. That is for sure. The CES January timeframe. You see some of the weirdest consumer tech I've ever seen at this time.
So this is about as zoomed in as this will get. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it's making it worse. I don't know why NVIDIA does not want you to zoom in on their page. DSSL or DLSS 4 was introduced with the launch of the new RTX 50 series GPUs. And they're declaring like massive FPS gains on these things. But you have to keep in mind what is actually happening here when they talk about these FPS gains. So what they're doing is they're rendering with things like ray tracing and everything, a much smaller output. Let's see if I can find a good example in here. My scroll
So
will work
it's not. It
properly.
sounds like basically
There we
frame
go.
generation. Is that right?
Yeah, so they're
Okay.
doing upscaling here, and they're doing it with AI. So they're doing like a traditional render, like on a smaller footprint, so smaller amount of pixels, but then they upscale and generate missing data using AI.
Yep.
So you can get pretty accurate representations of what those things would look like. And when you're moving at, what are they touting here? 243 frames per second, you don't really catch your eye's not going to catch most of the noise and things that get generated by this process.
No, no.
I've tried like DSSL, DLSS2 and some of those out on my existing hardware, which can't do much more than that. But there, you do see some artifacts and things at the lower end, and there's different toggles or sliders that you can use on these things. Like you can tune it for best graphics, best performance. And when you go high on the performance side, what you see is like that kind of that blurry effect you see like during the summer when you look against hot concrete. You know what I'm
Mm.
talking about? Where things
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of get kind of wavy. You'll get
Yes.
a little bit of that around the edges of stuff, and it's kind of weird. And it's not worth the FPS gain for me, but this stuff's just getting better. And of course, you can tune it to work, at a lower frame rate and give you better graphics to get rid of some of that stuff. But that's the artifacts that you will see if it's doing a lot of this generation stuff. But yeah, they're really pushing the AI front here with the new processor, saying it's 40% faster at this frame generation using 30% less RAM. Gamers should be pretty happy with this stuff, and then
I was just gonna
AI
say, like,
enthusiasts as well.
of all the consumer tech announced at CES, this is the one I could have easily expected you to pick.
I've got
Games,
others.
yes.
I've
Yeah,
got
okay.
others. Here, let's grab one of those while we're still on the topic. This one here. So these are like they're not nanobots. They're small robots. They're not quite nanobots. They're little itty bitty magnetic robots that they can program to do various tasks. Pretty sure the
Nice.
sound's coming through on this.
Oh, it's not, but that's okay.
It is not. Okay.
That's okay. We get the gist. That's cool. So they're working as a team, it looks like.
Yeah, so they can do all sorts of different tasks. Some of them strange and creepy, but you could see where this could be super helpful in different scenarios. You know, biotechnology, that type of thing. They can throw each other. They
Yeah,
can
yeah.
form ladders. It says it was inspired by ants,
Yes, just gonna say they
so
look like ants.
it's kind of got this hive type of technology to it. They can pick pills up and move them across the floor by spinning them. It's just really bizarre looking. They're like impeding the insect from walking in that one. That, like I said, some strange stuff in here. Um, I don't know if there's a practical use for picking up an ant and depositing it in another location, but there's strange examples of moving bugs around for some reason.
I would like to know
Probably for
what the
scale.
I would yeah, I would like to know how they're powering this. I highly doubt they've miniaturized the power requirements for this. It's probably being driven on top of a table that's providing the magnetic power of some kind.
Yeah, I didn't look into that aspect of it.
Yeah.
Um, it said
Which
they
kind of
were
defeats
magnetic.
yeah, it
They
kind of defeats the purpose here of having these run autonomously in an area that is not even pre-prepped. So there you
It
go.
says tiny magnetic robots that can transport objects 350 times their weight, capable
But
of
on a very
hurtling themselves
specialized
over
but in a very
obstacles.
specialized environment. Meaning
Yeah,
we own the tabletop or whatever. You can't put these anywhere. So yeah.
I would have dug more into it, but there wasn't an actual like link to any kind of literature on it or anything. It just was
Yeah.
hashtagged CES and the video is here.
There you go.
So maybe we'll see more on this later. I don't know if they were, remotely there was some kind of remote power
Yeah.
being used here. If it's
It's
like you said,
interesting.
it's some kind of magnetic table they're sitting on. But it was very,
Yeah.
very interesting. So I thought that one was pretty cool. Not a lot else out of CES I thought was
Okay.
really compelling to talk about on the show. There's a lot of cars related things like EV, electric vehicles.
Yes.
A lot of stuff in that space. So it was like Honda and some other big name combined forces on the EV front. There was a lot of that type of stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean CES has a great reputation of introducing just bizarre gadgets to the world, and
Yeah,
this year was no different. They have like things like vacuum shoes, and they
vacuum
have a lot of
shoes.
yeah, they had a lot of strange stuff. They had a spoon that would simulate salt through electrical current. So Kieran came out with the electric salt spoon, which was kind of neat. That was one of the weirdest things I saw. Um, there's plant pets. Which is Jiggles plants, and there's a pot called the leafy pot plant. Sorry, the leafy pot. Excuse me, I'll get that right. And allows you to move your plants around. There's the Saros Z70 robot vacuum, allows you to pick up your clothes off the floor. These things are
Yeah,
just impossible for humans to do themselves.
the vacuum shoes thing. I'm still like being a developer on that had to be a soul sucking experience.
Well, that's CES. CES is just about the weird and quirky. So
You're missing the pun, John. Soul sucking
I
shoes,
got-
vacuum
gotcha.
cleaners.
Yeah.
All right, I'll move on. Announcing CodeQL Community Packs.
Yeah,
What
let's
are
get to
these,
something more
John?
meaningful here. So, yeah, GitHub announced this recently. CodeQL, as most folks know, is a really good semantic analysis tool. You can integrate directly via your GitHub Copilot. GitHub Actions. Sorry, Copilot's just running off the mouth now.
Mhm.
Your actions plans, and now they've introduced a new feature called CodeQL Community Packs, which basically allows you to augment what's already there through custom queries and models. So, CodeQL, great tool. If you haven't used it before, it's really easy to set up. You can just click. You can just click to install it via the marketplace. But now there's a bunch of additional packs that are coming online, and they go through the list here of some of the ones that are being added. So we've got ones around Java. So if you've got any well-known CVEs, security is always an easy one, right? You can always identify those ones. You got ones around C Sharp, and you got ones around Python. So there you go.
Nice.
There's a list of the new ones that are being added.
Yeah, I think you know this has been a trend for a while, but you're going to see security being a huge
Sure.
driving force in the next year and the future. Really, yeah, we get
The future.
coding tools in the future. We get coding tools that are AI powered now. It cuts down on some of the busy work for some things, and I think people are going to have time to focus on things like security because it's going to be necessary for one, but for two, you can free up some dev time with some of those AI coding assistant tools and focus on other things, creating unit tests, making sure your application's not is more security bulletproof, things like that.
Right.
This one is a what do you call it? Like a cooperative advertising campaign, I think. But
Okay.
I thought it was interesting, and folks that watch the show might want to get involved. This is a combination of the Dev2 and GitHub Copilot working together in collaboration on like a hackathon, and
Okay.
there's prizes they're giving away. And the idea behind it is that you will take one day to build, and then there are different challenges. So it's running through January 19th, and let's see, there's some videos. There he is. Cassidy Williams was heading off some of the videos on kicking this off, and I don't know if you follow Cassidy online on her social media, but she comes up with some brilliant videos, like hilarious memes and stuff. So I'm sure it'll be entertaining, if not anything. But check that out if you want to get involved in some of these competitions to win prizes. The idea here is to help you use GitHub Copilot to help you build a thing for a challenge to win money. So
They should complement CES with something like this. Just make the craziest thing you possibly can. That'd be nice.
so there's a couple different ones in here. There's like new beginnings. So there's a template to get started in most of these as well. So build a productivity tool focused on new beginnings. I guess it's kind of like a new year type of thing. Fresh starts. Build a social good or sustainability app around the concept of fresh starts. I like these themes that they give these challenges. These are always fun and give like people an idea of where to start. So you don't have a bunch of just random um, what do you call these hackathon things just thrown into a box. They have kind of a theme built into them. Transitions and transformations. Build a creative or artistic tool that visualizes transitions and transformations. I like
Okay.
that as well. So these are all being judged on different criteria, and there's a bunch of different prizes that they're giving away. Some of it is monetary, some of it is gifts. And if you want to check that out, just find Dev2 or Google Dev2 GitHub Copilot, or check out Cassidy. You can find her online pretty easy, and check out some of her videos as well. Like I said, they're very entertaining. Benchmarking with Visual Studio Profiler is um, an article that you added, John. Is this one yours?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Some of
I'm a
these I
fan.
tossed in the bucket like
It's
during
okay.
the holidays. I can't remember which ones are which.
So it's all good. So I'm a big fan of benchmarking. I think anything that gives you some insight as to how your code's performing is a good thing. As we know, Visual Studio 17.13 preview, they updated their .NET benchmark .NET diagnosers, and that allows you to use more tools in the performance profiler. So this is an example of benchmarking a project showing how to utilize this. So the example they cite is pretty trivial. It's pretty contrived, pretty simple, pretty
Mhm.
trivial. It's basically streaming to a CVS file, and then utilizing the diagnosers. They are able to obviously provide a summary in the output window, and so this is basically a feature that allows you to trace, in this case, garbage collection here for Gen 0, Gen 1, etc. So they're doing over the method. You can see they're doing a enumerate records collection, and then using the BDN Pro allows you to basically see the output and then trace down where the problem may lie. And so this is a capability I think a lot of folks should start to consider utilizing.
Mhm.
Their garbage collections and allocations for memory, etc., are very, very important. Obviously, for the performance of an application, you don't want to try and redo those. Obviously, in a big loop, for example. So trying to minimize those is going to be important. And by restructuring the code and giving some sense of where these things lie, this will help you make better performing code.
Yeah, I've actually used this fairly recently. I'm working on a course for Dome Train, and I have a section on pattern matching, and I want to make sure that the things that I was teaching weren't going to cause performance bottlenecks. So I ran them through benchmarking with, like for each loops versus link versus pattern matching using link, just to see like which things performed the best. And
Yep.
generally, it was just the same across the board, which is the result I was looking for. But to be able to validate that was very valuable, because you don't want to put out training material and then have somebody use it and they're like, "Why is my application slow?"
Yeah.
And you showed them some technique that they're shooting themselves in the foot with. So, if not just for that, like there's tons of other uses to use this benchmarking thing, whether you're building a library that's got to, parse a bunch of data, etc. It's a useful tool. This was a headline. I know how much you love VR, so I thought
Yep.
I'd talk
Here
about
we
some
go.
more VR, but there was a case and the prosecution put forward a VR application. So the judge and I think the jury, I think this might have had a jury involved as well, could experience um, the uh, ex- what uh, the client had experienced. So this was, um, I think this person was attacked. So
Okay.
they were trying to simulate what it felt like for this person to be mobbed, mobbed against. So they
So it
could
looks
put
like they
on
were
the
using
glasses.
looks
Yeah.
like they were using video footage from some third party who was observing this, and then they generated a 3D model from that and then put it in the perspective of the defendant. Is
Yeah.
probably a good represent? Okay.
Yeah, so this person was involved in some sort of altercation,
Hmm.
and they're trying to give that person's point of view. And
Yes.
like you said, they collaborated with video and an artist to put this together, and so the
Yes.
judge could see it from that person's
I'm
perspective and
okay
point
with
of
that
view.
because it's yeah, we rely on verbal testimony for
Mhm.
through witnesses and such. Now, obviously, it's the question becomes whether or not this is admissible, whether the judge has allowed this to represent the situation as is. I mean, we use diagrams and 3D models in court today for describing car accidents or for other things like that. So I can't see why this would be a problem. But I'm just thinking out loud here, like maybe this is the future for testimony and for evidence in the future.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a Black Mirror episode too, but
Yep.
new things are creepy.
Sure.
And then finally, we can come to our favorite part of the show, and that is very near and dear to my heart, John. And I got to make sure I have there it is.
Yes.
You ready for it?
Yes.
Can it play Doom?
Hey.
This is awesome.
Oh, through a captcha?
So this person put Doom in a CAPTCHA,
Yeah.
and to make sure you're not a
Click at
robot.
least yeah, click at least 3 monsters.
Oh my god. I just got annihilated. You have to kill at least 3 monsters.
Wow.
Oh lord.
So are you clicking actively on the window there?
Yeah, I am
Oh, okay.
trying. I got 2. Oh,
Oh, you pass the captcha if you kill everyone. Okay.
you gotta
Interesting.
get 3. 3 kills to get, and it's
Okay,
not
so this
easy.
must be yeah, this is like obviously a canvas element, and then it's looking. Okay, I see. So it's looking for you to kill 3 monsters to survive. Okay, okay, interesting.
For rent for, proving you're a human for educational and entertainment
Yes.
purposes.
Okay.
Project
Oh,
works
they're
by
using
leveraging
okay WebAssembly.
Inscriptin.
Yes. Okay.
So Inscriptin is, yeah, WebAssembly, where you can compile C code to WebAssembly. So it's a minimal port of Doom to WebAssembly,
Yeah, this has been
and
done
then
obviously.
they've
Yeah.
got an IPC channel set up. Let's see. This is
And so
crazy.
instead of clicking on images, you're just waiting for an event that says, "Yep, person has clicked or killed 3 enemies." That's good.
So they've made a custom WAD, which is um, the mapping mapping file format for Doom.
Mm.
Uh, so this is a map specifically built for this purpose, and then there are some flags that they set and some special events they're tying into to make this a captcha. I love it. This is so creative.
Jeez.
This is so cool. Oh, there's even a debug mode. Look at that. Oh, look, you could see all of
Oh
the
wow.
output from Doom in there.
Mm.
That is slick. I love it. Yeah, this is too
But why,
cool
Ed? But why?
because we can. Why not, John? How about that? Can you
Okay.
give me a good reason why not?
No,
Isn't
I
this
can't.
better than selecting images from a select the
It's up there.
bytes?
It's good. I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
Doom
so
is everywhere.
this was awesome. So this is the author here. Oh, it's the CEO. Vericel. I did not know that. Yeah. So he had some free time over the holidays, I guess. So that was an awesome thing. I love that. So I thought I'd share. That
Thank
is
you.
all we've got today.
We are all richer. We are all better knowing that Doom is now living inside of a captcha.
Yeah. I mean, this is what you follow us for, if anything, to learn about these things. All right, John and folks, we will see you soon. Take care.